So the beginning of the new league year set for just a few days from today. Negotiations underway this March 15th. Free agents signing on the 17th. Well, it's time to speculate who's going where, some of the biggest names in free agency predictions. Let's get started.
Perfect.
And before we get too far into things, subscribe and get the bell on to know every single time I'm dropping a video. Support your boy, it's much appreciated. Now, on to the content. Before we dive too deep into the actual free agency predictions, I want to make it really clear how the NFL salary cap has changed for this upcoming season and why a number of teams right now are just not eligible to even sign free agents given their current cap situation. If you're unfamiliar with what I mean, due to a number of opt-outs last season and the impacts of COVID-19 on the NFL, there's a lot of interesting things going into the salary cap situations for all of the NFL teams heading into this free agency period, heading into this next season. And I want to break those things down for you just so you understand why maybe I'm excluding some teams from some of these negotiations, why I'm excluding some of these teams from, well, free agency contention. So because of a lot of contract structures and opt-outs due to last season's impact of COVID-19, the NFL had a ton of cap rollover heading into this upcoming season, with a number of teams bolstering their cap numbers with over the $180.5 million slated cap for this upcoming season. Obviously, the NFL over the past decade, its cap has increased steadily every single year, but with the weird revenue stream after last season, the NFL cap actually had to go down to accommodate all 32 NFL teams. And with cap rollover and with contract rollovers heading into this season, there are a number of teams in the red and behind the ball, so to speak, in NFL free agency, most notably of which the team that is the furthest into the red are the New Orleans Saints with the negative $49 million of cap space. So they're gonna have to do a lot of restructuring if they want to even play ball with NFL free agents and much less sign NFL draftees. On the other side of that coin, the Jacksonville Jaguars are leading the way this offseason with the most NFL cap space, over $85 million for Urban Meyer to play around with to try to make Jacksonville an incredibly enticing landing spot. And a number of teams had a ton of cap rollover. The Cleveland Browns leading the NFL in cap rollover from last season, over $30 million of cap rollover heading into this upcoming season. A number of other teams are also going to benefit from this as well. So with just as many teams benefiting from a cap rollover of money that they didn't spend last season, it's going to super help and super benefit these teams as they're trying to remain competitive and get into these playoff hunts, get into the playoff races, and overtake some of these trailing teams in Super Bowl effort. So if you're unfamiliar with how the rollover actually works, let me just break this down for you really quickly. In 2011, in the CBA, the contractual binding agreement between the NFL and the NFL Players Association, the NFL established that 89% of all cap space had to be used on players, with the remaining 11% being able to be used to roll over to the next season to help accommodate contracts, free agents, draftees, etc. So with a number of NFL opt-outs last season, all that cap space gets rolled over to this upcoming season, to this free agency period, into the new league year, and teams are able to use a lot of that, well, in free agency. So if your team happens to be in the negative, in the red, theoretically speaking, they cannot participate in signing free agents. They cannot participate in signing even their draftees until they are over the designated cap. So if you're a New Orleans Saints fan, a Kansas City Chiefs fan, a Chicago Bears fan, and you're looking and really hoping for your team to actually land a couple of these amazing free agents or get some amazing draftees, you may be in a fickle spot and you might be a little bit bored during this NFL free agency period because your team's going to be letting a lot of players go. There's going to be a lot of contracts restructured in order to get players onto the roster to fill out that 53-man roster. So with all that being the precursor to the actual free agency, that way you have a little bit more of an understanding of what's going on this offseason, let's get to what you came here for. Let's get to what you clicked on the video for. Let's predict where a few of these free agents are going to be landing, starting off with Shaquil Barrett of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Barrett has become one of the more established, savvy, veteran edge rushers in the NFL, was a nightmare during the Tampa Bay Buccaneers playoff and Super Bowl push, getting after quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, and even a guy named Taylor Heineke in pursuit for Super Bowl 55. Shaquil Barrett was a nightmare in the backfield. In the previous season, even in the 2019 campaign, Shaquil Barrett led the NFL in sacks. So, hitting the market very likely, Shaquil Barrett is the premier pass rusher that teams are going to be eyeing as they look to boost that pass rush, try to get after opposing quarterbacks. And if you couldn't tell, during that Super Bowl, getting to the opposing quarterback pays dividends. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers held the Kansas City Chiefs of all teams to 0 touchdowns, only 9 points on the board, in a huge part to Shaquil Barrett. So look, of all the teams that can really use a nice edge rusher, I'm going to start things off with a team that Barrett used to play for, the Denver Broncos. There's going to be a really nice reuniting as the Denver Broncos are moving on from veteran edge rusher Von Miller, who's slated to hit free agency as well. So look, the Broncos in dire need of some pass rush here. I think Shaquil Barrett could be a wonderful fit. He's very familiar with the organization, with the culture, and depending on how things ended with the Denver Broncos, I could see this being, a nice reuniting piece here. I can see the Denver Broncos shelling out quite a bit of money to go get Shaquil Barrett, and if the Denver Broncos could stay healthy with the addition of Barrett, they could very well be a playoff team at worst. Another destination I see Shaquil Barrett landing are the Jacksonville Jaguars. Urban Meyer's going to have $88 million worth of cap space to play with, to add to the offense and the defensive side of the football, with the #1 overall pick very likely going to be Trevor Lawrence. You're going to want to put some really good pieces around him, and the Jacksonville Jaguars, Duval County, are looking for some great edge rushers. Ever since Calais Campbell and Yannick Ngakoue departed over these past couple of seasons, the pass rush has been anything but stellar. I think Shaquil Barrett will be a nice natural fit down in Florida, down in Duval County. Third up on the Barrett list is going to be the New York Jets. New head coach Robert Saleh knows the importance of a great pass rusher. He saw plenty of them as the defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. Nick Bosa, DeForest Buckner, Eric Armstead. So I think he's going to look at Shaquil Barrett, and they're going to have plenty of cap space to go out there and get their edge rush captain. Checking out some other free agents, offensive tackle, veteran, all-pro, Trent Williams. Trent Williams just came off an amazing season, getting a 91.9 PFF grade for the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners have already come out and said they will not use the franchise tag on Williams, so there's going to be a number of teams looking for a savvy, all-pro veteran left tackle. First and foremost, I think the Los Angeles Chargers are going to be in contention here. Offensive tackle Sam Tevi is going to be hitting free agency, and center Mike Pouncey declared to retirement this offseason. So they're going to be looking for not only a replacement at left tackle, but they're also going to be looking for a great veteran presence along the offensive line. To me, the Los Angeles Chargers make the most sense, but of course, there's plenty of other options for you boy. Secondly, I could see Trent Williams landing with the Indianapolis Colts of all places. The Colts lost their franchise offensive tackle in Anthony Costanzo to retirement this offseason. They're going to really want to protect Carson Wentz's blind side to let him cook. So, Trent Williams seems like a natural fit for that position. They could very well go draft, as the Colts have done a lot on the offensive line, but I feel like Trent Williams would be a nice fit there. And then the final free agent I wanted to touch on in this video is going to be JuJu Smith-Schuster, coming off of a decent season where he had 97 catches for nearly 900 receiving yards and 9 touchdowns. 9 being the common theme here. JuJu Smith-Schuster is very likely going to hit free agency as guys like Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson emerged for the Pittsburgh Steelers last season. Smith-Schuster would be a lovely complement, a #2 wide receiver for any offense, and I think there are a few suitors that could do more than just have him at a #2. First and foremost being the Washington football team. Opposite of Terry McLaurin, JuJu Smith-Schuster feels like he'd be a great fit in the Washington offense. I think he would work really well working opposite of the deep threat that is Terry McLaurin. He can work really well underneath intermediate routes. He gets open. He has very secure hands, Smith-Schuster does. To me, it just feels like a nice natural scheme fit in Ron Rivera's offense, so a team to keep your eye on. The other team that I think JuJu Smith-Schuster could land on are the New England Patriots. Look, the Patriots receiving core last year was, well, atrocious. Jakobi Meyers was the best wide receiver on the team, and all due respect to him, but he should never have been in that position in the first place. Julian Edelman is deciding really whether or not he's going to be playing football this upcoming season as he rehabs off of knee surgery. So the Patriots in dire need of a wide receiver. Smith-Schuster would be a natural number one in this offense that really would just need a deep threat to coincide with himself and Jakobi Meyers being a nice slot underneath guy. So the Patriots gonna go really offensive heavy this offseason. It just feels like it'd be a nice natural fit there as well. And the final destination I can see are the New York Jets. Guys like Denzel Mims and Jamison Crowder are already established along the roster, but a nice trio of wide receivers to welcome in the next franchise quarterback for the New York Jets. I think Smith-Schuster would be a nice rotating number 2, number 1 option along the offense for the Jets. Look, a number of big names have already been taken off the market this free agency. Guys like J.J. Watt going to the Arizona Cardinals. Justin Simmons, the best safety potentially this offseason, franchise tagged by the Denver Broncos. And this past Monday, Dak Prescott, the biggest name potentially in free agency, signed a 4-year, $164 million contract with the Dallas Cowboys. How the Cowboys are going to work that out with their cap situation, who knows? And I'm definitely going to touch on that more later, but a lot of big names already gone in free agency this offseason. So look, this looks like it's going to be a really fun free agency year. There's a lot of names that I just didn't have the time to get to in this video. Guys like Von Miller, most notably, Kenny Galladay of all people, Jarrell Casey, the defensive line veteran. Look, there's going to be a ton of great players hitting free agency this offseason. A lot of names to keep the eyes on. And, well, the cap situation, again, like I mentioned at the top of the video, gonna be really crazy to keep an eye on as well as we near the NFL draft. Saints fans, don't hold your breath. Don't expect to be too active up until about April. But look, NFL free agency, one of my favorite times of the offseason, one of my favorite times of the NFL year, and I hope you're excited about it too. But look, with all that being said, thank you so much for watching the video. Check me out on social media down in the description below. Feel free to stick around, of course, watch some more content. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and get the bell on to know every single time I'm dropping a video. My name is Tristan Blake Rines, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna catch you in the next one. Adios.